I just wanted to take this time to talk about Call of Duty and where it's headed. I know that many people have done this long before I even had the idea to, but I feel like I need to get my perspective out there because my perspective seems to be different than the majority of fans' perspectives. The majority of fans seem to think that Black Ops 2 is where Call of Duty stopped being good, and I honestly can get why they'd have that opinion because, in all honesty, Call of Duty Ghosts wasn't really that good in my opinion at launch. Like now I can stomach it, but at the time I just didn't dig it that much. I liked how they did the snipers, like how when you zoomed in, it would like still have that outline. It wouldn't have a black box surrounding your circle. And you could still see your peripherals, so I thought that was a cool addition, but I honestly didn't really like Ghosts all too much. But then again, I didn't really like Infinity Ward that much either. I am a Treyarch guy. So, my first game ever, well, my first Call of Duty game ever was World at War. I had known about Modern Warfare, but I honestly gave it a shot and I sucked ass. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna go to World at War because it's World War II, and so they shouldn't have all those automatic guns. Because at this time in life, I wasn't that much of a World War II history buff. So I jumped into that shit thinking I'd be all fine and dandy, and then I was just getting blown to like bits. So I was like, fuck this. I'm going to play campaign. So I played campaign. I only played recruit. I beat recruit and unlocked zombies. And once I saw zombies, oh, my pants were wet. I was just like, holy shit, this is fucking amazing. So I jumped into zombies for a good year, and I basically just played zombies non-stop. And in all honesty, I was doing this to get some practice because I saw it as, well, muscle memory. If you keep practicing enough, then eventually you'll get better at it. At least that's what I assumed, so I put it into practice and it eventually came to fruition. So what I did is I just kept playing zombies consistently, like every single day, weekends and weekdays. And eventually my friends were all like, hey dude, you play zombies so much. Why don't you play multiplayer with us one time? And I was like, honestly, I tried multiplayer when this game first came out, and I suck. And they're all like, well, yeah, you just started playing shooters, though. Your whole life you just played Halo, and Halo is a completely different game than Call of Duty. And I was all like, yeah, that is true. Halo, you had to sustain fire, and then this game is just quick reflexes, so I might be better now because I was slowly getting used to the controls through zombies. Like I was learning how the snap aim worked because I was playing on console. So they did have the sort of aim assist functions where you would snap aim every time you held down the left trigger. So I was slowly getting better at that, although I wouldn't abuse the snap aim system until around Black Ops 3 when I realized that it was actually a viable tactic. So I jumped into multiplayer and I was a fucking beast. I was surprised at how much work I was actually getting done. So what I would play regular team deathmatch and free for all, but once I realized how easy hardcore mode was, I just jumped into hardcore, man. And I don't remember what mode it was that I played in hardcore. I'm not sure if it was free for all or team deathmatch because I believe free for all in World at War had a time limit. But my go-to in pretty much any Call of Duty would be hardcore free-for-all, so long as the free-for-all doesn't have a spawn time limit. Because, dude, I don't know why people hate hardcore so much. They say hardcore is hard as shit. But I think hardcore is the easiest shit in the whole wide world, and it's how I level up so fast. Because starting in World at War, well, in World at War, I guess it would take me about a month to prestige. But learning that hardcore was like quicker to level up in the future games, it would take me like 2 to 3 weeks to prestige. Sometimes a week if I was like really grinding in the game, like Black Ops 4 and Black Ops 3. But man, hardcore was the shit, dude. But some time passed by and Modern Warfare Call of Duty 4 was on sale. It was on sale for like $5. I was like, fuck it, I'll buy it. I don't really like the game, but it's $5. It's another Call of Duty. I might as well get some game time in it, you know. So I decided to play Modern Warfare, and it was hard as shit. I thought that me like, getting used to the controls in World at War would have like transferred over to Modern Warfare, but it did not. So I went into campaign and I played the campaign for a bit. I started unlocking all the intel because I realized that the intel can give you cheat codes in the game. So I unlocked all the cheat codes, and by the time that I unlocked all the cheat codes, I felt like I was ready to jump into multiplayer. And apparently I was, because I jumped into multiplayer and I was able to do decently. I got up to 4th prestige and I did not get any farther than that. Not until later on, but that's just because I realized that you could have quick scoping matches during the 1v1 cage match. But so some time goes by and then Modern Warfare 2 comes out. So I get Modern Warfare 2, and I have to admit, I really liked that game. Well, I really liked the campaign. The campaign was just so deep, you know. I just felt, well, maybe not deep. It just pulled me in. Like pulling one into the deep end. But the multiplayer was pretty awesome in my opinion because that's where they introduced the different kill streaks. And the different kill streaks just gave you so much variety in the game, and it just boosted the value of the games, in my opinion. Well, it boosted the value of that game, in my opinion. But while everybody was hyped and excited about Modern Warfare 2, I was there just playing it and waiting for the next Treyarch game to come out. So we finally got the reveal for Black Ops 1, and I remember just watching it over and over again because I was just hyped as shit. And that was the first Call of Duty that I pre-ordered just so I could get all the zombies maps all over again, even though I already had them. Man, I was stupid, but it was worth it. Oh yes, it was so worth it. Because on top of that, you also got Moon, because that was part of the DLC that the original 4 maps were a part of. So on top of that, you get Moon, and that was just a cool pre-order bonus in my opinion. That RC car was a cool bonus too, but I did not spring for that package because it was a bit too expensive for 14-year-old me. But Black Ops 1 came out, and you bet your ass the first thing I did was jump into zombies, dude. And that zombies was, oh, it was the best. Like, Kino der Toten, man. That is a lot of people's first zombies map, and I do not blame them for considering it to be one of the best maps because it's so simple, yet at the same time, it's more complex than a map like Nacht der Untoten, you know? It had the Pack-a-Punch, so you didn't have to worry about buying a DLC in order to get a Pack-a-Punch. And wow, dude, it was just such an amazing experience. Like, I had to wait for the other maps to download, but I didn't really care for those maps. What I wanted was the new maps. And finding out that there was a second zombies map, oh my god, I was so excited, dude. And a third zombies mode in the form of Dead Ops Arcade, that was just icing on the cake, although I didn't even touch it. I did a little bit, but I sort of hated it. Although now I appreciate it. Just wish that they had like a mobile version of it. They used to have one on Black Ops for the iPhone, but for some reason they took out Dead Ops Arcade. It's so freaking weird, dude. So, 5, when I realized that we could play 5, I was so hyped. I was like ready to play the Eminem Easter egg song. And then the Pentagon Thief came. And then he took my guns and left me with nothing, pretty much. So I couldn't kill him, and I was heartbroken, and, well, I hate 5 to the core of my soul. Oh my god, dude, 5 was the worst. I remember that there was this weird exploit found where if you knife the bottom of this window on the right-hand side of the door, or on the right door, on the right-hand side of this table in the back of the room, you can knife the bottom 2 portions of the window off in order to rebuild the barriers in a specific way so you could jump on top of them. And for some reason, you're able to jump on top of these barriers in order to strafe jump onto the table. And when you were on top of this table, you were at a point high enough so that the zombies couldn't hit you, but low enough so that your knife could actually hit their heads. So I remember me and my cousin would just like chill up there, just like spamming our bullets at the zombies, and then when we ran out of ammo, we would just knife the shit out of them because knifing would probably give us a max ammo, and if we got a max ammo, then we would be good for another 5 to 10 minutes. But Black Ops 1 was really my shit, dude. I remember getting my hands on like some leaked footage of Black Ops 1 Ascension zombies, and I had posted that shit up on my profile, like my old YouTube account. It's not this YouTube account, it's my old one. But I had posted it on that YouTube account months before Ascension even came out, and it had gotten thousands upon thousands of like views and likes, and oh, I wish I had that account still, dude. It was so beautiful. Oh, but I was so into that game. I was trying to find leaks for it, and I was trying to like leak all the info I could. But sadly, Ascension was the only map that I was able to have any luck on because they started cracking down on future maps. I think the closest thing to a leak I was able to find was that the next map, which would be Call of the Dead, we didn't know it was called Call of the Dead at the time, but we did know that there would be celebrities in the map. We just didn't know which celebrities. But it was leaked that there would be celebrities in Call of the Dead, and that was a pretty cool thing. But come Modern Warfare 3, that was the game that really made me get into Call of Duty as a franchise. Because while I had Master Prestige or gotten to 10th Prestige in World at War and Black Ops 1, I hadn't done it in Modern Warfare or Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 1 I had gotten to 4th Prestige, and Modern Warfare 2 only 2nd. But Modern Warfare 3 introduced something called Prestige tokens, and this was the most epic shit ever. Like, every prestige you got in a previous COD game, need it be Treyarch or Infinity Ward, you would be rewarded in Modern Warfare 3 with prestige tokens. And these prestige tokens could be used to do anything from unlocking weapons early to giving you XP boosts. And that was pretty insane because if you got 10th prestige in all 4 CODs prior, that means that you had 40 prestige tokens off the bat that you could just spend on whatever the hell you wanted. And I'm pretty sure most people use that on the double XP tokens because during these times, that was when the race to first prestige and 10th prestige was a thing. And, ooh, I don't even remember what I spent them on. I'm pretty sure I spent them on weapons if weapons were truly available to be unlocked through prestige tokens. But if not, then I probably spent them on the fucking double XP as well, you know? Because it would be the smart thing to do, because if you use prestige, or if you get the double XP, then you'll prestige faster and you can use the actual prestige tokens to unlock weapons. But Modern Warfare 3 was basically what got me invested into Call of Duty as a franchise, because before I was only really into the Treyarch aspect, but Modern Warfare 3 gave me respect for Infinity Ward. So eventually Black Ops 2 came out, and honestly, I gave zombies a try. Just like always, I always play zombies first. But this game, when I played zombies first, it was very lackluster. I played it a lot, I'll give it that, because of the bank system and the weapon storage system. But oh my god, Transit was just the worst shit ever. All because of that damn fog and the lava and the fucking face fuckers. Oh my god. It had potential. I'll give it that. Because going back to play it over the years, like ever since Black Ops 2 came out up till now, I've enjoyed Transit. I've enjoyed the Victus maps to an extent ever since the launch of Black Ops 2, but it just didn't get me as much as the Ultimus maps, you know? The maps with the original crew from World at War and Black Ops 1. Those maps always got me. But for some reason, Victus maps never really held my attention, except for Die Rise, but I'll come back to that later. So, speaking of playing zombies first, I forgot to mention in both Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, they had a mode called Spec Ops, and I honestly played the shit out of Spec Ops just because of how awesome it was. It wasn't as fun as zombies and didn't have as much replay value as zombies, but it was fun enough for me to get 3 stars on all the missions just because of that replay value that it had. But, like I said before, it didn't have the replay value that zombies has, so honestly, I think that's why I forgot to mention them. And I know Ghosts didn't have, what's it called? It didn't have Spec Ops, but it did have Extinction. And I'll be honest with you, with Ghosts, I did not play Extinction first because it was not zombies and I did not like it. What I did was I played Campaign first, and I'll give it this. Campaign was pretty awesome. But the multiplayer, man, the multiplayer did not grab my attention, and Extinction did not grab my attention. But back to Black Ops 2. So, Transit, oh, I did not like that too much, but it was decent. It was zombies, you know? I can't fault it for being zombies because it's zombies. Oh, World War II, you failed me so hard. But when it was announced that Die Rise would be the next map, that's when I honestly started getting hyped. Because I honestly thought what Die Rise would be a remake or remaster of Der Riese, you know? I don't know what the hell I was thinking because they honestly had done Der Riese twice, Black Ops 1 and World at War. So why the hell would they do it again? I don't know why I thought they would, but the hype for that map was through the roof for me simply because I thought it would be a Der Riese remake. But when I got my hands on it, I was honestly surprised because it was a Victus map, but I loved the hell out of it. And I don't know why I love the hell out of it because going back to play it now, I suck shit at it, so I sort of hate it now. Ah, such a heartbreaking story. I have all the perma perks, by the way. I don't know how the hell I still have all the perma perks activated in Black Ops 2, but I do. And I'm not gonna really complain about it. I'm just confused as to why they're all still active, but I am grateful that they're all still active. Because I know that they're called promo perks, but I know that they're supposed to disappear if you fuck some shit up, and I have to admit I fucked some shit up. But then Mob of the Dead came out, and honestly, that was when I started disliking zombies because the characters were boring, the map was horrible, the afterlife function was terrible, the only use it had for me was the revival. The way to get to Pack-a-Punch was annoying, and the Easter egg was also annoying. At least the Transit Easter egg and the Die Rise Easter eggs, at least they had a flow to them, and they weren't so boring in my perspective. They just weren't so. They weren't such a drag, in my opinion. I'll give Mom of the Dead this. I did like its ending to its Easter egg, like how you had to decide who to kill. Like you could either kill the Weasel or kill the other 3 players, and the Weasel would have all the zombies on his side. That was pretty epic in my opinion. I just wish that they had stuck with that a bit more, but sadly they did not. So Mob of the Dead I did not like, and that's pretty much the reason why I moved on to multiplayer. And multiplayer was pretty badass in my opinion with Black Ops 2, and I understand why people would consider it the last good COD game, but it isn't in my opinion. It's one of the best COD games in a while, but not the best. Although it could be in my opinion, but if the zombies doesn't hold up, then the whole game doesn't hold up in my opinion. Campaign for Black Ops 2 was also amazing, and around this time was when I jumped into the campaign too, because if the zombies ain't gonna hold me, then I might as well switch to the other things. So I played the campaign and I found out that it has like multiple endings depending on your actions in the game. And that was a cool thing. I don't know why the hell they didn't bring that back. I'm not even sure if they brought it back into Infinite Warfare, because even Infinite Warfare's campaign I haven't beaten yet, because its zombies was honestly that good. I played zombies from launch in Infinite Warfare up until 3 months ago when I started playing the campaign for Infinite Warfare. But that's getting ahead of myself. So Black Ops 2 had that multiple ending campaign, or I should say branching storyline. Black Ops 2 had the branching storyline, and then eventually they started adding different zombie modes like Turned and... No, not Infected, that came later. So they added Turned, and Turned was pretty awesome because it was sort of like Infected for multiplayer, but in zombies, if that makes sense. And rather than being like an all-out tag battle, it was more like just regular tag. So you play as a zombie, then you hit the player, you turn into a player, and then they turn into a zombie, and then it's like switches back and forth between like who can get the most kills as a player, you know? And I think that there was also another mode where it was more like Infected, where there were multiple survivors, and then the zombie would have to take out the survivors, and the more survivors they took out, they would help them take out the other survivors. But I honestly can't remember that game mode too much, because the one that everyone played that I can remember is the one where there would be humans and then one zombie, and then the zombie would take out a human and then switch places with that human, and then it would just be like a game of switcheroo. Although my memory could be wrong, because that sounds like a really stupid idea now. But it must not have been too stupid if I played it, but it's probably only because people had the chance to say a human more often than not. If it was a real game mode and my mind isn't just making that shit up right now. But eventually Buried got released, and I enjoyed Buried, but I did not realize the map's full potential until about 3 years ago when going back to it. And I sort of regret not going balls deep into that map, because that map is pretty solid. But Origins came out, and I did not appreciate that map at first, because I honestly hated the Primus crew. It felt like Treyarch was just trying to reboot the Ultimus crew, and in doing so, they made lackluster versions of them and called them the Primus crew. And I honestly just hated the Primus crew, and I honestly kept hating them until Black Ops 3. And I know that they were only out for Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3, but you have to remember that in between Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3, there were 3 games, or 2 games, because it's a 3-year cycle now that Sledgehammer Games started to get involved. So when Sledgehammer Games got involved, they came out with Advanced Warfare, and since they came out with Advanced Warfare, that meant that we had to wait a whole other year for Treyarch to come out with their next game. So next in the story, I believe, would be Ghosts. It makes sense in my head because I believe Sledgehammer Games helped Infinity Ward make Modern Warfare 3. So I believe that Advanced Warfare came out after Ghosts, but I could be dead wrong because it was a 3-year cycle now, and I know that after Black Ops 3, we had gotten Infinite Warfare, and after Infinite Warfare, we got World War II, and after World War II, we ended up getting Black Ops 4. So, going by that 3-year cycle, I guess that after Black Ops 2, we must have gotten Advanced Warfare? I don't know why, but that sounds dead wrong in my head, but I do know that both Advanced Warfare and not Black Ops, both, holy shit, Black Ops 3 was also on last gen. Okay, so Advanced Warfare, Ghosts, and Black Ops 3 were all on last gen. Fuck, that does not make this easier. I'll just go with Advanced Warfare next. So, let's just say that in this reality, Advanced Warfare came out next, right? Came out after Black Ops 2. So Advanced Warfare is out, and it's a futuristic setting, and everyone does not like that. Or everyone does like it because it's something new. Jeez, this is really bugging me now because Ghosts must have came out next. But if Call of Duty Ghosts came out next, after Ghosts must have been Advanced Warfare. After Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3. After Black Ops 3, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Hold up. Alright, so I just looked this shit up. Call of Duty Ghosts came out in 2013, so that would be next on this timeline. Advanced Warfare came out in 2014. So Black Ops 3 came out in 2015. Why the hell did Infinite Warfare come out before World War II? I'm gonna have to look this shit up now because that doesn't sound right either. Alright. I just looked this shit up. Alright, so Infinite Warfare came out in 2016, and World War II came out in 2017. I just assumed it was the other way around because I honestly loved Infinite Warfare and I absolutely despise World War II, so I was playing Infinite Warfare long after its death. Oh my god. I thought that World War II came out before, but it does make sense because Advanced Warfare was the introduction of the exosuits. Black Ops 3 was the introduction of the fluid movement system. And Infinite Warfare, they improved immensely on the fluid movement system. So that is the timeline right there, and it's all fixed in my head now. So let's go back to Ghosts. There's not much to say about Ghosts. I pretty much talked about it throughout this whole video, and I don't know why I did that, but for some reason I fixated on it a lot. The campaign was the only good thing in my eyes. The multiplayer was not that good in my eyes, and the extinction was extremely lackluster compared to zombies. So come Advanced Warfare. Advanced Warfare was pretty awesome in my opinion. The campaign was really good. The multiplayer was a bitch in the ass most of the time, but I slowly got used to the advanced movement system in that game because it's more of a Twitch shooter kind of environment compared to Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare. Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare, they dialed it down a bit to make it feel more like classic COD, and you could honestly play Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare without using the fluid movement system if you really wanted to, and you wouldn't really be at a disadvantage in my opinion, because I did that, and I reached Master Prestige in those games without having too much trouble. Although the times where people used the fluid movement systems, I would have to use it too, because if they were, say, somebody that had a longer playtime than me, and they were used to using that fluid movement system, then of course they would have an edge over me. They'd be doing backflips over my head. They'd be flying underneath me. It's so crazy. There's this map. It has trees all over the place. They could literally fly underneath you and flank you without you even knowing that they're in your vicinity. That's how crazy the fluid movement system could have been if you used it right. But it was not mandatory. And that's what was great about Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare. Advanced Warfare, on the other hand, it felt forced. It felt like if you didn't use it, you'd be at a disadvantage no matter what. Even if you wanted to try and play boots on the ground, you'd always find yourself using it no matter what. At least I did. But while I did enjoy the multiplayer, it didn't hold my attention that much. And Advanced Warfare had this Spec Ops type game mode. I'm not sure if they actually called it Spec Ops. I'm not sure if they did. I think it was called Exo Training or whatever. But I started playing that and I was getting really into it. Up until I got to that prison level and had that zombies Easter egg. That's when I got hyped for the game. And I started playing that level over and over again rather than playing multiplayer. And I was just getting used to how the zombies felt, thinking that's how it would play. And it sort of played like that, but it also felt like classic World at War zombies with a twist. So when Zombies finally did come out, the Exo Zombies, it came out with the first DLC. Freaking mistake in my opinion, but can't change the past. When that came out, it was pretty awesome because that Easter egg and that map felt decent sized for a first map, you know? It just sucks that the first map came out in DLC 1. But as time went on, Burger Town came out, and I played that with my coworkers, and we managed to beat it, but I hated it because of all that toxic gas. That was annoying as hell. And I just remember Exo Zombies being a hella good time, you know? They always threw in something new, they tried to change it up, and it just felt fresh. But I'll admit it wasn't fresh enough to go back to in the future because I haven't installed Advanced Warfare since Black Ops 3 came out. And speaking of Black Ops 3, when Black Ops 3 came out, I jumped into Zombies, obviously. I pre ordered the game so I can get the Giant. I jumped into Shadows of Evil first because it was a new map and I wanted to give it a shot. And I hated it. It felt like Transit, but worse. I don't know how it felt worse. I think it might have been because of the Apothicon form, or whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it, I should say. Not called. I guess you can call it the cursed form. Yeah, we'll call it the cursed form. Well, this cursed form felt like the Afterlife form to me, and I already hated Afterlife form in Mob of the Dead. So honestly, Shadows of Evil gave me a huge Mob of the Dead vibe. I hated the characters, hated the feel of the map, but I will admit that as Black Ops 3's life cycle was nearing its end and they added more overpowered gobblegums, I started enjoying Shadows of Evil. Although I've never done its Easter egg, which pisses me off to this day because you need 4 players. You can't do that shit solo. I could do every single other Easter egg, but I can't do that one because I can never find any competent players that have a compatible connection type with my Wi-Fi, and it sucks. So, I loved Black Ops 3. I hated its campaign. Campaign was shit in my eyes, but that's only because I didn't realize that you were dead the entire time. After you realize that you're dead the entire time, it all starts to make more sense. But Zombies was amazing in my eyes. It just sucks that I couldn't get that super Easter egg, even if the only real bonus you got was the RK5. But multiplayer, that was on a whole other level. Sure, I liked Black Ops 1 multiplayer, and sure, I liked Black Ops 2 multiplayer, but this was the first Call of Duty that I ever went all out on, and I just wanted to hit that Master Prestige because it just felt that good to play the game, you know? And I actually did it in both zombies and multiplayer, and that's a good feeling. But Infinite Warfare came out, and I remember giving that video a dislike because I was honestly tired of the boost system, and I just was tired of this futuristic shit. But I gave it a shot anyways because my manager had bought the game for me. And since he bought it for me, I was like, fuck it, I might as well play it. So I gave it a shot, and I honestly immediately fell in love. I didn't touch the campaign at all until 3 months ago, but the zombies, man, that zombies was on a whole other level. Sure, we only had zombies in Spaceland, but it was a good change of pace in my eyes. And that Easter egg was actually pretty decent too. Like, sure, it was simple as fuck, but it felt good to do. And on top of that, with every single DLC release, they released DLC weapons, just like Advanced Warfare, just like Black Ops 3. And yes, I know in multiplayer they were linked to the RNG, just like Black Ops 3 and Advanced Warfare. But there was a catch with Infinite Warfare. With Infinite Warfare, if you bought the season pass, they would straight up just give you the DLC weapons. And if you didn't buy the season pass, well, if you don't want to spend any money on multiplayer just to have the chance at getting the weapons in a loot box, you had the option to fucking play zombies. And That's just it. You just play zombies, hit the box. And you just keep hitting the box until you get the DLC weapon in the box, and as soon as you pick it up out of the box, it was yours to keep forever. Your whole profile, zombies and multiplayer, it would be unlocked for you just through playing zombies. You didn't have to spend any money if you didn't want to, other than the $60 for the base price of the video game. Do you know how insane that was? And I was so appreciative of that. And I know why they did it. They did it because this game was not what any of the fans wanted. Since this was not what the fans wanted, they actually had to listen to the fans. And Infinite Warfare got better so much faster just because they wanted to listen to the fans to keep them happy. And oh my god, did they keep us happy. I am so appreciative of Infinite Warfare. And Infinite Warfare is seriously what made me fall in love with Infinity Ward, because they honestly lost my respect with Call of Duty Ghosts. And I know that they gained it with Modern Warfare 3, which came out so soon before it. But they honestly lost my respect that fast, and they were able to gain it just that fast. It's such an insane concept, but hell, I fucking loved Infinite Warfare. So, come World War II, I was hyped as shit for that. I was like, hell yeah, another world at war. But then the game came out, and then we found out they had divisions, and then we found out the zombies sucked, and then we found out the campaign sucked. That game was horrible in my opinion. It just broke my heart. Although they did fix the multiplayer a lot. They made multiplayer so fucking good that I actually played it over Infinite Warfare Zombies a few times just because they made the multiplayer that good. But the zombies, man. The zombies broke my heart, man. They were doing so good with Exo Zombies, man, and then they do this to us, man. Oh, it just broke me, but what can you do? It's the past and you can't change it. Speaking of things you can't change, Black Ops 4 was announced. We were told it would not have a season pass. We were all hyped as shit for it. They told us that it wouldn't have a campaign because they were focusing all their efforts on zombies. We would have 3 zombies on release, 4 if you pre-ordered. And boy, did I buy into that bullshit. To this day, they still haven't kept most of their promises. They haven't even tried, it seems. I'll give them this. They made it so that their DLC weapons are easy as fuck to get now, but it is still a hassle. You still have to wait for those guaranteed drops. But I will admit that although I did leave the game after playing it for 3 months, and I've only come back to it this past month, I have to admit that it is pretty impressive how generous that they've been. I've already gotten three DLC weapons, and I'm I'm not excited. I'm surprised because I was expecting it to be more like Black Ops 3. Because Black Ops 3, I'll admit that I spent a few $1,000s on that because I was a fucking retard and I had no responsibilities. So I was like, hey, I got this money, might as well spend it on something I want. So I kept spending and I kept spending and I kept not getting what I wanted, but I kept spending until I did. And to this day, I still don't have all the DLC weapons in Black Ops 3. I have a majority of them. I'll give the game that, but I still don't have like 3 or 4 of them. And that's not even counting the melee weapons. I don't even have like half the melee weapons. But just strictly talking, the long distance weapons, I don't have about 2 or 3 of them. And it just sucks that I spent that much money on a stupid ass game just to not get anything, you know? It just breaks a man's heart. But zombies was the shit in Black Ops 3, and it was sort of the shit in Black Ops 4, but man, it did not hold up. In the 3 months I played, I reached 10th prestige, but it just was not enough to hold my attention. And that's heartbreaking in my eyes because I fucking love zombies, dude. Zombies was my bread and butter up until Black Ops 3. That could just be because I got all the disclosure I need and they were trying to do something new, talking about real world gods rather than higher dimensional entities, but Who's to say? Because I know that they are going back to higher dimensional entities by going back to the Aether story, but we'll just have to wait and see where the hell that goes, because we'll just have to see if they keep doing Disclosure, if they're going to go the easy route. But Disclosure's been working very well for them thus far, so we'll just have to wait and see. I'll be honest with you and say multiplayer I barely touched. I just recently started playing that shit. It breaks my heart too, because Black Ops 3, I love that multiplayer. But Black Ops 4, the multiplayer just doesn't feel right. Even the hardcore playlist. And Blackout, I thought I'd love that shit because I loved the beta, but it seemed the beta was all I needed, because the full game's Blackout, I barely touched that shit. But the beta, I played the hell out of that shit. Maybe I'm just burnt out on it already. I did try giving it another shot, but it just didn't catch my attention. And now we talk about Modern Warfare. Not Modern Warfare Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare Call of Duty whatever, this one coming after Black Ops 4. It seems promising. I'll give it that. But they made the same stupid ass claim where they say, we're not going to have a season pass. We're going to give out the maps for free. Just like they said for Black Ops 4, and people are just eating it up. And it's pretty ridiculous, because they made these exact same promises with Black Ops 4, people. You guys cannot fall for this again. It's just sad. I fell for it. And I'm not falling for it again, because they said we wouldn't have a season pass in Black Ops 4. They didn't technically lie, because we don't have a season pass in Black Ops 4. We have something called the Black Ops Pass, and it works differently than a season pass, so it's not a season pass. And I bet you that in Modern Warfare they're gonna have some stupid ass thing called a Modern Warfare Pass. I just bet my money on it, because, in all honesty, I wouldn't be surprised, because it's what they do. It's what they have done. And if I lose this bet, then I guess I'm buying Modern Warfare. And if I win this bet, then I guess I'm not buying Modern Warfare, although they would have gained my respect. Who am I kidding? If they don't have a Modern Warfare pass and they're serious about giving all the DLC for free, then I might give Modern Warfare a shot. But man, I am not holding my breath. Promises are merely words, and words only mean as much as you allow them to. And in all honesty, they've shown me what they can do with words. They've shown me that they can lie. And I just don't want to fall victim to that anymore, because in all honesty, I do believe we should maintain positivity. But there comes a time when you have to realize that maybe positivity just ain't enough. Maybe you gotta start speaking with your wallet. Just look at the world nowadays, specifically Hollywood. Something called Get Woke Go Broke has been going around, and people are literally speaking with their wallets. And while it's ineffective as of late, because these corporations and people are still pushing their agendas, we can see that they're financially becoming unstable because they're losing money in these productions. So eventually they're going to lose enough money to the point where they're going to have to start listening to the people once more. Because if they don't listen to the people, then they're just going to keep going down in the financial department. And eventually the higher ups would get pissed off and just be like, hey, what the hell are you doing? You got to get your act together, start listening to the people, give them what they want so we can get our money. And that's what I hope will happen, because in all honesty, these people are so materialistic that money is going to take precedence over agendas. But even then, if their agenda includes the abolition of money, then who's to say they won't keep pushing their agendas to the point where people can't ignore them any longer and they just start accepting it Because people are either going to start accepting these agendas or they're going to start rebelling against them. But that's just my take on it. Well, I hope you guys had a good one. This was an extremely long video. I didn't expect it to be this long, in all honesty. This is just my history with Call of Duty and why I believe that people shouldn't be too optimistic about this next coming game. I believe that since they're giving the fans what they want, they will believe that they can get away with doing what they want. Just like they did with Black Ops 4. They made us fans believe that they were giving us what we wanted, but then they ended up just abusing us afterwards. I know abusing is a strong word, but in all honesty, they just abused the emotions of people, of their fans. And, well, who gives a damn at this point? In all honesty, my decision is mine to make, yours is yours to make. If you guys want to support the game, then so be it. I can't stop you. This is just my perspective, and I just wanted to get it out there. And I hope you guys remember to stay safe out there.